For nearly 70 years, the Soviet Union stood as one of the two most powerful nations on Earth. It stretched across 11 time zones, controlled nearly 1/6 of the world's landmass, possessed the largest nuclear arsenal in history, and competed directly with the United States during the Cold War. It launched the first satellite into space, sent the first human into orbit, and emerged from World War II as a global superpower. Yet by the end of 1991, the Soviet Union had disappeared from the map. No foreign army conquered it. No single battle brought it down. Instead, one of history's greatest superpowers collapsed under the weight of economic problems, political reforms, rising nationalism, and years of internal crisis. How did it happen? This is the story of the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was officially founded in 1922, following the Russian Revolution and a brutal civil war. Under Vladimir Lenin, the new communist state sought to build a society based on socialist principles. After Lenin's death, Joseph Stalin transformed the Soviet Union into an industrial and military powerhouse through rapid industrialization and collectivized agriculture. These policies dramatically expanded heavy industry, but also caused immense human suffering, including famine, political repression, and mass arrests. During World War II, the Soviet Union played a decisive role in defeating Nazi Germany, suffering an estimated 27 million military and civilian deaths. After the war, the USSR emerged as one of the world's two superpowers, leading the Eastern Bloc while competing with the United States in the Cold War. For decades, it appeared strong and unstoppable. Behind its military strength, however, serious problems were developing. The Soviet economy was based on central planning, where the government decided what factories produced, how much they produced, and where goods were distributed. While this system succeeded in building heavy industry and military power, it struggled to provide consumer goods efficiently. By the 1970s and 1980s, many citizens faced shortages of everyday items, outdated technology, and long waiting lists for housing and automobiles. Economic growth slowed dramatically. At the same time, the Soviet Union spent enormous resources maintaining its military and competing with the United States in the nuclear arms race. The costly war in Afghanistan, which lasted from 1979 to 1989, further strained the economy and damaged public confidence. Then came the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986. The Soviet government's slow and secretive response undermined trust in the leadership and exposed serious weaknesses within the system. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev became General Secretary of the Communist Party. Recognizing that the Soviet Union needed change, he introduced two major reform programs. The first was Perestroika, meaning restructuring, which aimed to modernize the economy by allowing limited market reforms and greater autonomy for state enterprises. The second was Glasnost, meaning openness, which encouraged greater freedom of speech, reduced censorship, and allowed public discussion of problems that had long been hidden. Although these reforms were intended to strengthen the Soviet Union, they also exposed decades of economic difficulties, corruption, and political dissatisfaction. Across the Soviet republics, including Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Ukraine, Georgia, and others, national independence movements grew stronger. Citizens increasingly questioned whether they should remain part of the Soviet Union. In August 1991, hardline communist officials attempted a coup to remove Gorbachev and reverse his reforms. The coup failed after widespread public resistance, most famously led in Moscow by Boris Yeltsin, then president of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic. The failed coup dramatically weakened the authority of the Central Soviet government. Within months, republic after republic declared independence. On December 8, 1991, the leaders of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus signed the Belavasia Accords, declaring that the Soviet Union had ceased to exist and establishing the Commonwealth of Independent States. On December 25, 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev resigned as president of the Soviet Union. That evening, the red Soviet flag was lowered above the Kremlin for the last time and replaced by the flag of the Russian Federation. The following day, December 26, 1991, the Soviet Union was formally dissolved. After nearly 70 years, one of history's most powerful nations had come to an end.